Yo, what up, everybody? G Money is back on the anniversary of the Bitcoin white paper and the anniversary of my first show doing some of these digs. So we're going to kind of start off right where we left off. I know it's been a few months, but a lot have happened since then. And so we're going to kind of like see where we left off and like continue the conversation. So we left off with Kofefi, right? We were talking about 315. We were talking about how these rare Pepes kind of got involved with, the 315 inside the Nakamoto card, Series 315 for the Putin card, and then we had the 315th card issued as a mirror of the first card, right? And then we had the Kofefi tweets that we went back and looked at. They were 531, 531. Then we had Pepe on 10/13/2015 at 153. So again, this 315, if you guys don't understand the 315 stuff, go back and watch the last video. One thing I did leave out, though, was that the 315th day of the year is actually 11/11. Okay, so I did say before, I said nothing crazy is probably going to happen. We weren't sure what was going to happen on 315 because we did that video before it actually happened. And, some interesting stuff happened, but nothing like super, bombshelly happened on 315. However, again, Series 3 card 15. So what did happen on 315? Well, we did get the U.S. Senate unanimously condemning Putin as a war criminal. Okay, so that happened on March 15th. So that happened on the Ides of March. And as you know, we're in this energy war right now with Russia, Ukraine, Europe, Germany, right? All of them are being denied access to Russia's energy as we get into the winter months. Okay, so we just wanted to follow up on that. We're currently 11 days from 11/11. Again, I don't think anything massive is probably going to happen that day. We'll see. We'll see what happens when that time comes. But we're 11 days away from 11/11. We did have this Putin hit on March 15th when that did go down. So, anyways, what this episode is really going to kind of talk about is some of the digs regarding Bitcoin and the white hat dog whistle. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, I mean we're going to talk about some of the stuff that happened, for instance, with Elon Musk. Okay, so back in February 8th, 2021, so this is over a year ago, I basically said that Elon was going to be a white hat because he put Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and that was kind of a whistle, a dog whistle saying, he's one of the good guys, okay? And then we've got, some of his tweets where he actually talks about Bitcoin being inevitable, okay? So in retrospect, it was inevitable. He did this in January 29th, and he also included Bitcoin in his profile picture. Okay, I took these screen caps. This is obviously not there anymore, but I did take these screen caps at that time to kind of show, he is a Bitcoiner. And then like a week later, he ends up buying Bitcoin and accepting it for payment. Now, they did reverse some of this stuff based on energy concerns and that sort of a thing, and ESG, but I think he's probably going to be accepting Bitcoin again here probably somewhat soon. Okay, so just kind of rehashing some of the old digs where we talked about Elon. And then another 315 hit that we didn't talk about before was Elon he gave himself a title called Techno King at Tesla. And the CFO, funny enough, becomes the master of coin on 3/15/2021. So just something that we kind of maybe left out or didn't talk about with 315, right? The Ides of March, the day all debts are settled, but 315 is also, the 315th day of the year is also 11/11, okay? And again, this goes back to Andrew Jackson. His birthday was on 315. So again, you get all these different relations back to 315. And let's keep going. Funny enough, so we talked about the rare Pepes. The rare Pepes are Bitcoin NFTs, right? They run on the second layer protocol called Counterparty. That's basically part of the Bitcoin network. And so what we have here is on March 15, 2021, he also put out this weird tweet, right? It's 2 minutes, 20 seconds long, right? So maybe an 11/11 reference, 22. And it was put out on March 15th, 2021. So again, I didn't bring this up last time. We went through, did some more digging, and we ended up finding this NFT, right? He never minted it, never sold it, but it's just an interesting coincidence that he posted it on 315 as far as that goes. Okay. So in talking with Elon, what is going on right now? Well, Elon is set to take over Twitter, right? He's supposed to take over Twitter. I I guess it was finalized on Friday. So he's now in charge of the entire thing. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to Jack Dorsey. Okay, so I know a lot of you guys probably don't like Jack Dorsey, don't understand it, but we're going to kind of look at some of the digs into Jack. Okay, so Jack Dorsey, you can see they saved him a profile on Truth Social. And what's unique about this is Jack's profile picture on Truth Social is actually at him from Bitcoin 2021. Okay, and so I think that's quite odd that they would use a Bitcoin 2021 photo of Jack. Okay, so here he is, right? And then here's him at the Bitcoin conference in that same shirt, same beard, the whole deal. So why don't we listen to Jack real quick? I've got this clip of him that's talking about social media. So let's watch this clip real quick of Jack.
Can social media be more like Bitcoin? Bitcoin is censorship resistant. Nobody controls it. What is your thought on that? What is your thought on this? It's a thorny problem.
Yes, I do believe it can. I know there's a number of you out there who disagree with a lot of actions that Twitter has taken. I know there's a lot of you out there who disagree with our policies and the way we've evolved them. I appreciate that. I recognize it. I also recognize the fact that there is an incentive and a corporate incentive and a business incentive that is different than what might be needed for global communication, for public conversation. And my goal in my life in this moment is to remove as much as I can the corporateness of our companies and find better intersections with the open source community. Certainly, Bitcoin has taught me that with Square, and we're doing everything in our power. We're doing everything in our power to do that. And we're trying to do the same thing with Twitter by creating a new platform, a new open source standard called BlueSky. We're just starting it. And it will have none of the restrictions that you see on Twitter. So inspired entirely by Bitcoin, we want to do the same thing for social media. And again, I know you're not going to believe me. I know you're saying liar. I'm going to prove it to you. And then we can have another conversation later.
All right. So there's Jack talking about him being, running this new platform that's going to connect some of the social media sites via the BlueSky protocol that's really kind of attached to Bitcoin. Okay, so there was this interesting tweet where Larry Sanger talks about a project being announced 18 months ago as a new head, a new project. Don't trust them. True decentralization is contrary to Twitter's business model. Correct, right? Jack's been, he's been censoring us. He's been deleting stuff, right? But who knows really what was going on behind the project? Maybe Jack built Twitter as a honey trap for the bad guys. Okay. And so he says, new project. This is our first and only lead. It may be contrary today, but won't be in the future. And don't trust us. That's the entire point. So he's talking about this new platform being really kind of the one and only lead that he's been working on, which is kind of interesting because it kind of leads to the fact that Twitter was designed for this BlueSky protocol like beforehand, right? So let's keep going and let's talk about Jack. All right. So we had Jack when Bitcoin hit 22K, right? This is 2 years ago, actually. He tweeted 11+11 on December 16th, right? But this is 2 years ago. But again, at that time, I was like, whoa, something's up with Jack, right? He wasn't really into shitcoins. He blasts the shitcoiners, the meth heads, all the different shitcoiners. He really kind of, he pushes back against them. And then he integrated the Bitcoin Lightning Network, okay? So I want to bring up one old tweet Jack had, okay? So this is the tweet that everybody talks about Jack being not a good guy, all right? And I want to kind of talk about this specific tweet where he talks about page 307 of the Satanic Verses, which made him cry, typical, quickly turn to page 86 to 87, okay? So the Satanic Verses he is talking about here is not actually like a satanic book. All right, so if you know anything about this book, it's a book written by Salman Rushdie, okay? So Salman Rushdie was a writer who wrote this book And he was in the news actually recently enough because he got stabbed. So this book, The Satanic Verses, is actually about radical Islam, and it talks about some of the different aspects of it. And so Rushdie wrote a book that spoke out against it, against radical Islam. And so what we have here is he was actually stabbed on stage October 23rd, lost the use of his hand and vision in one eye. So this guy was actually stabbed on stage. The president of Iran at the time when this book came out, I think it was in the 80s, actually declared a fatwa against him. So declared him to be, the enemy of the state type of thing, where they put out a hit basically on Salman Rushdie. Okay, so understand what this actually is when we're talking about the Satanic Verses. It wasn't actually a satanic book. Okay, so let's talk more about that actual. Let's see if I have it. Right, epic novel, upon its publication, 88, right? One of the most controversial books of the 20th century. Some Muslims considered it fanciful and satiric use of Islam, blasphemous, and Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran condemned the book and issued a fatwa in 1989 calling for the killing of Rushdie, as well as his editors and publishers. So there was violent demonstrations about this book. There was all kinds of crazy stuff because he wrote this book. So this was the book Jack was reading. And we're actually going to pull out page 307 and talk about what exactly was on there. Okay, so let's go grab that one. And what do we have here? So this is page 307 of the Satanic Verses. Okay, and so what it talks about is this page specifically says you have been brainwashed. Okay, your head is so full of junk. You forgot everything worth knowing, right? And so what the theme of this is that it's kind of like the Twitter NPCs, right? The people on Twitter are basically brainwashed. Their heads full of just propaganda and junk, and they forgot basically everything worth knowing. But there's an interesting little tidbit at the end where it talks about the art of the assassin is to draw the victim close, makes him easier to knife, right? So he's talking about this assassin that draws the victim close. Well, funny enough, right? Jack was accused of, guess what? Backstabbing his own Twitter board by helping Elon Musk as shareholders meet. Okay? So, I don't think this deal would have been able to get done without Jack as part of the plan here. And so Jack was kind of instrumental in helping Elon get this platform of Twitter because Elon didn't pay for the technology, right? He paid for the network that Twitter actually is and what it can do to help free speech and eliminate the censorship that's going on, right? And it's all based on Bitcoin because this is going to be attached to the Bitcoin Lightning Network via BlueSky, okay? So let's get more. We'll talk about the actual text, Jack Dorsey. He talks about, so he left the company, I believe, in 2021, and he says a new platform is needed. It can't be a company. That's why I left, right? And so he shares the status of him leaving the company. What Elon asked, what should it look like? I believe it must be an open source protocol funded by a foundation of sorts that doesn't own the protocol, only advances it, a bit like what Signal has done. It can't have an advertising model. Otherwise, you have surface area that governments and advertisers will try to influence and control. If it has a centralized entity behind it, it will be attacked. This isn't complicated work. It just has to be done right. So it's resilient to what happened to Twitter. Okay, so super interesting idea. Okay, so these texts are going back and forth. So there's some kind of plan here that talks about, BlueSky and what exactly is going on with that. So here's Elon real quick, a clip of him talking about this app called WeChat and how it's similar. So take a listen to Elon real quick.
For those that have used WeChat, I think WeChat's actually a good model. If you're in China, it's basically, you kind of live on WeChat. It does everything. It's sort of like Twitter plus PayPal plus a whole bunch of other things, and all roll into one with actually a great interface, and it's really an excellent app. And we don't have anything like that.
Right. So Elon's talking about this super app that has payments, that has social media, that has all messaging, all types of stuff, right? And right now, what do we have? We have True Social, we have, Twitter. So, we have to basically go to these different sites to find out what people are talking about. And so what we have is this protocol called BlueSky, where if you think about it, could be like a super app. Okay, so this could be an app to where all protocols could basically run together. So Elon tweeted this. In retrospect, it was inevitable. And just funny enough, he put this same wording with Bitcoin back in 2021. He actually deleted this tweet with Kanye and Trump. This was before Kanye kind of went off the rails with with his recent, remarks. And so what we have here is we've got, Elon showing Trump, Ye, and Elon kind of together, and they're all crossing their swords, but with different social media sites, right? And so what you have here is kind of a hint that, hey, maybe Truth, maybe Twitter, maybe Parler, maybe Getter, all of them can kind of like combine on this protocol so that you don't have to get, different apps for each one, and that you can communicate to other people, but you don't necessarily have to be on that application. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about, and that's BlueSky. Now, what do we have in regards to BlueSky, and why is it important? Well, first of all, we had Strike. Okay, so we had an integration between Jack Mallers, who runs the Strike application. Okay, and he actually integrated the Bitcoin Lightning Network into Twitter. So Elon already has this technology inside of Twitter via the Lightning Network. Okay, and we can talk about where Jack actually, do I have that? Yeah. So Jack talks about this. So Say It Taylor, this is one thing that feels like it would benefit the ETH ecosystem way more than it benefits Twitter. They're talking about like NFTs on Twitter regarding Ethereum and that sort of a thing. He goes, yeah, that's kind of cool, but every account on Twitter being able to link to a Lightning wallet, right? So he's talking about this last year in August, where basically, 1156 could be 1111. I don't know. You'll have to decipher that one for yourself. But only a month later, September, Strike actually comes out and integrates a Bitcoin Lightning Network. So you can actually tip people micropayments, a few sats, and it's basically free. Okay, so Jack Mallers is also the kid who onboarded the entire country of El Salvador. Okay, so you kind of see these players and this plan kind of forming together. And again, Twitter is already integrated with Strike. So there's nothing that actually needs to be done. Okay, so what do we have now? We've got Jack, April 25th of this year. He's talking about, again, I don't believe anyone should own or run Twitter. It wants to be a public good at a protocol level, not a company. Solving the problem of it being a company, however, Elon is the singular solution I trust. I trust his mission to extend the light of consciousness. Now, this is a pretty wild statement from Jack. He's saying that he trusts Elon the most to get this done. Okay, so what we have is a Bitcoiner now on Twitter, right? So Elon's a Bitcoiner, as we showed you from previously, right? He bought Bitcoin. He sold 75% of it, right? There's actually a funny dig with that too. He sold actually 31,500 coins, right? The 315 kind of theme there. So he'd sold 31,500 coins, but he still kept like 10%. Okay, so again, the 315 connection is pretty wild when you keep looking at what these Bitcoiners are doing and kind of their whistles with, 315, 1111. And again, we don't know what's necessarily going to happen with 1111. But let's keep going here. All right. So the AT protocol, the BlueSky protocol, what is it? Okay. Well, I'm going to show you. So the AT protocol, okay. BlueSky, again, was created to build a social protocol in the spring. They released ADX, which is the very first iteration of the protocol. Over the summer, we improved, and today we're sharing a preview of what's to come. ADX is now the Authenticated Transfer Protocol, or more simply, the AT protocol. It's a protocol for social networking, okay? The AT protocol is a new federated social network. It integrates ideas from the latest decentralized tech into a simple, fast, open network, okay? So what is a federated network? It talks about having servers to communicate with each other, like email. Instead of one site running the entire network, you can have many sites. It means you get a choice of provider, and individuals and businesses can self-host if they want. Now, what's so great about this is, first of all, you have account portability. So you own your identity, not the actual company, right? So a person's online identity should not be owned by the corporations with no accountability. AT protocol lets you move your account from one provider to another without losing any of your data or social graph, okay? Algorithmic choice. You can dictate what we see and what we can reach. So imagine Twitter users, right? You've got people maybe middle of the road. They're like, you know what? I'd like to see what Trump's saying about the fake news and some of this other stuff. I want to see what Trump is actually saying. They could probably click on a thing for, to integrate True Social. They want to see True Social posts. So it's going to be an open source protocol that allows basically a public digital square, okay? Interoperation. The world needs a diverse market connected to services to ensure healthy competition. Interoperation needs to feel like the second nature of web. The AT protocol includes a schema-based interoperation framework called Lexicon to help solve coordinated challenges. So interoperating between the different networks. And then performance talks about performance and long loading times. And, we don't see performance as optional, so we've made it a priority to build for fast loading. So that's also kind of a cool feature that they're going to be doing. Okay. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? There were some other interesting things. We had Devin Nunes on 3/15, March 15th. He actually tweeted out Covfefe, right? So this happened, and Dunkin' Donuts, as you know, is 44 DD, right? So there's a Dunkin' Donuts cup with the Covfefe on there, and it's kind of funny because we called Covfefe was going to be 3/15, and then we also had Nunes with the Bitcoin tweet. So Nunes actually posted this tweet. He posted it on July 6th, but he posted this tweet. He retweeted it basically retruthed it from Crypto News, where it talks about Bitcoin, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, right? But it's not having shitcoins on here. It's got literally Bitcoin on here, and it talks about how, over time the technology is just getting better and better, and how Twitter was 16 years ago, which is crazy, right? So integrating this and having it part of Bitcoin through BlueSky, I think, is a super interesting place for Bitcoin. Oh, one thing I forgot to point out in the beginning, guys. So remember that Games of Trump wallet we talked about? I think you guys remember the Games of Trump wallet. Well, super interesting enough, it woke up like 3 days after 3/15. So the wallet was dead for like, I don't know, maybe, I think it was dead for, I'm trying to think, maybe a couple years? 5 years, actually. 5 years, like you can see the debits here. If you go to the page of where the actual wallet was hosted. So we'll go back, I think it's like on page 4 or 5. Okay, so it woke up 7 months ago. You can see these are all the things sent out of the wallet. Okay, then you get down here. Okay, let's go one more. Okay, so right here, 5 years ago. And then it goes to 7 months ago. So this wallet was asleep for 5 years. After we did that dig on Game to Trump, it woke up like 3 days after 3/15. No joke. And I was like, what is happening? So this wallet, who owns the Games of Trump, and what was funny too is they put up Pepe Hefner, and they put up a I'm with Pepe for 69.69 Pepe Cash, which is kind of funny. So 319 you can see, and then let's see. So 318. So 3 days after the Game to Trump we talked about earlier in the last video, it woke up all of a sudden, which is just super random. So anyways, I wanted to share that. And then, a couple new things we have going on is I've got the Pepe project. So down here in the bottom left corner, you can either scan it or you can go to these websites down here, and you've got the Bullion, Bitcoin, and Bullshit channel that's on Telegram. So these two sites are where you can find me. We do some of the digs with the NFTs that are in those actual Telegram channels. And then my True Social account is just PappyG45 at PappyG45. So that's my True Social account. Hoping to get back on Twitter. I don't have my Twitter, but I do have a pretty interesting tweet. We're going to talk about it right here. So I haven't been able to touch my Twitter for years. Like my account's banned. I can still log in, but it says I have 0 followers. I had like 25K followers when I got booted. But what's interesting is Elon tweeted out, the beautiful thing about Twitter is how it empowers citizen journalism. People are able to disseminate news without an establishment bias, right? And so I actually had in my profile from years ago, citizen journalist. Now, I don't know how many people have that in their profile. I don't know, maybe it's just a coincidence. But I thought it was a pretty cool one that he actually tags this specific language in his tweet. And I haven't been able to edit this at all. It's literally been stuck there for about 2 years. So anyways, kind of a cool coinky dink that we get here. But that's basically it, guys. I wanted to do an update. Happy Halloween. Happy Bitcoin Satoshi White Paper Day. Oh, and then we also have a new show called Rug Pull Radio that's on the Badlands Media on Thursday nights. So I suggest you guys come follow the channel, and we'll post links to our live show that we do on Thursday nights at 10:30 Eastern with Patriots in Progress. It's called Rug Pull Radio. And that's all I had for today. But, we're just confirming some of the digs that I did previously that kind of actually line up to, to meet of what's happening today in the news, right? So it's all kind of coming full circle. But anyways, peace out. G Money out.